70 years to the day that Israel declared its independence, and here we are to the day where America is putting its embassy in the capital of Jerusalem, signifying again the importance of Israel and of a united Jerusalem. How do you feel?
Elated. I think this is a moment of history, and I think President Trump has made history. This will be remembered the way we remember the proclamation of Harry Truman, who recognized Israel, the way we remember the Cyrus Declaration from 2,500 years ago when he told the exiles of Babylon, you can go back and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This is a historic moment, and we will always remember it.
In addition to today, it's been a banner week for you. The President Trump withdrew from the Iran deal, and in 2015 you came to America to warn America of what most straight-thinking people could have figured out anyway, and that is that the Iran deal was a flawed deal. There were many in Congress, some of them Jews, who boycotted. And Donald Trump today, there are some American Jews who don't support Donald Trump. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't think it's a question of being Jewish or not. I think it's a question of understanding the threat posed by Iran. I mean, the nuclear deal was based on an assumption that if you give Iran a lot of concessions in the nuclear field, they will be nice. They will stop being the radical regime that oppresses its own people and devours countries in the Middle East. The opposite happened. You gave them the deal, pushed billions into their coffers, and instead of becoming this nice country, it actually went on a rampage in Yemen, in Iraq, now in Syria and elsewhere. They're trying to conquer the Middle East with the money from the nuclear deal. So I think what the president has done is, first, he's smashed Iran's money machine for its dreams of empire. And everybody in the Middle East is applauding him. I'm not talking about in the European capitals. I'm not talking about those who are now outside the missile range of Iran. Those who are in missile range. Yeah, like this capital, Jerusalem, Riyadh, elsewhere. In the Middle East, we understand that President Trump has done a great thing because he told Iran, you're not going to get the money for this flawed deal. And the second thing is, you're not going to get the nukes. Because this deal, if it's kept, guarantees Iran's multiple paths to get a nuclear arsenal. Everybody says, oh, well, we should keep this deal because it blocks Iran's path to the bomb. No, it doesn't. It guarantees Iran's path to the bomb.
And not only that,
so get out of this bad deal. Shouldn't keep a bad deal.
So why did the UK, France, Germany, if this is so obvious, and you gave the proof, I mean, I was a prosecutor, you gave the proof, the evidence from Mossad, why are they still in the deal?
I think they're kicking the can forward. They say, what this deal actually does, it says to Iran, do not enrich uranium, which is the critical component of a bomb, for one bomb, for a single bomb. And in exchange, in a few years' time, now it's 7 years' time, you'll get the ability to enrich uranium for 100 bombs. That's the deal. That's crazy. That's what this deal says. So why do people do that? Why do people sacrifice the middle term and the long term for the short term? They often do that, but it's wrong to do that. So I think the president is absolutely right, both smashing the cash machine for Iran's aggression and ambitions of empire, and also telling them you're not going to go with our approval, housekeeping seal of approval, and within 7 years, 7 years have unlimited enrichment for a nuclear arsenal.
Why haven't Arabs learned, after President Trump pulled out, why haven't Arabs learned that any attempt at military engagement with Israel is going to inure to their detriment? For example, the '67 war on the lines. Why don't they get it?
I think they sort of do, gradually. I mean, if you look at the Arab world as a whole, there's a change in the way many of the Arab countries perceive Israel. They no longer perceive it as their enemy, but as their indispensable ally against a common threat, and the common threat is Iran. So there are, and I'm not revealing shocking news here, but I'm not going to go into details, but our relations with many of the Arab countries has undergone a profound transformation, and we're united in our desire to confront Iran's aggression, and we're united in our appreciation of the fact that President Trump has confronted Iran instead of appeasing Iran. The president gets a lot of applause, not only here in Jerusalem, but also in quite a few Arab capitals. We're just open about it, and the people of Israel are open about it.
So you and President Trump are both straight-talking, no-nonsense, in-your-face. You find that you're similar?
Well, sort of the press treatment of my tenures has some similarities to
the United States press and their treatment of President Trump?
Some.
Does it frustrate you?
No. I have a hard time getting used to any other reality, but I don't let it bother me. I just do what I think is right. And there's a social media, too, that is a new phenomenon today.
That it can benefit you. Your father was a big supporter of Jabotinsky and the Iron Fist. He's passed, as has your brother. If you believe in the afterlife, they're looking down at you now. What do you think they're thinking as they're looking down on you on this historic day?
I think they'd be very proud and very happy, because they'll understand the historic significance of this day. I mean, the greatest power on earth, our greatest ally, the United States of America, has touched on the core being of our people, which has been Jerusalem. Jerusalem has been the pulsating heart of the Jewish people for 3,000 years. And now comes an American president and fulfilled his promise to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, which is common sense, but somebody had to say it, to break this charade of hypocrisy. He just punched right through it. And I think this is great. This is a significant historical point, as has been his decision to confront Iran, to pull out of that horribly flawed deal. I think these are two great things.
Do you think that you will face consequences from the other, like Iran, the other Arab nations?
I think the Arabs are happy about this, about the embassy. I think they sort of have to, raise the usual protests, but I don't think they really care that much. And the Palestinians, certainly in Gaza, will use it as a pretext to try to rile up the masses against Israel. But what they want is not a peace with Israel. They want a peace without Israel. They don't want a Palestinian state next to Israel. They want a Palestinian state instead of Israel. That's why this conflict goes on, because they want to throw us into the sea. And the minute we'll get Arab leaders, as we got with Sadat and with King Hussein, the late King Hussein of Jordan, who are willing to coexist with Israel, then we're moving towards peace. I see that happening in the outer ring of Arab countries. And I think that part of that is this coming together against Iran, and President Trump is helping that a lot.
But Iran now is aligning itself with Russia and has its proxy in Syria.
Yeah, I think Iran wants to move its army to Syria now that the war against ISIS is winding down there. And we're absolutely, and they're saying openly that their goal is to bring these lethal weapons close to Israel's border, 1,000 miles away from Iran, right next to our border, with the aim of destroying us. Well, I've said no. We'll confront you now before you build up your forces rather than later. What would you do? Any country would do. I mean, if somebody tried to move, to move right next to the United States, horrendous missiles and other things, with the express purpose of annihilating the United States, you think you'd sit back? No. I'm not sure that Russia wants Iran to do that, because...
Really?
Yeah, well, yes, because I think they're in competition now for the spoils, if you will.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure there's a necessary conflict. But Iran is at conflict with us. Iran is in conflict with the United States. Iran is in conflict with just about all the Arab states in the Middle East. And I think we should unite together under President Trump's leadership to kick Iran out of Syria and to constrain and stop Iran's aggression. If you want to advance peace, that's how you advance it, by confronting the enemies of peace.
A strong Israel.
Definitely.
Is what gets the Arabs to the peace table.
Yeah, I mean, what has happened with the Arab states is they've recognized that Israel is here to stay. You can't defeat it, and because you can't defeat it, you make peace with it.
Thank you.
It's called peace through strength.
Peace through strength.
I'm sure you've heard of that.